Hi, Misty, your RN Health and Wellness Coach, and today is January 1st, 2024. Some people make cabbage. I like to make kombucha. And because I don't believe in luck, but I do believe in the gut. So that's what I want to show you today. There's some really simple ways to do it, and there's a very strategic way to do it. And when you skip steps, it messes up. So that's why I want to take it step by step today. I like to use green tea. I found this organic green tea at Walmart. It works perfect for my kombucha. The other thing is buying a really good quality sugar. You do want raw sugar. This is organic raw sugar cane. I do buy in bulk because it's cheaper and it works. You don't want to use any other sugar substitutes. You can use black tea, you can use Rubio's tea, or a green tea, but that's what you have to do for your kombucha to get it to work. So that's what we're going to start with today. And I'm going to first filter my water. So I'm going to get this ready. The faucet's over here. We're going to get it filled up, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Hang in a minute. Going to fill up our water. I use about 2 to 3 cups of filtered water. You can put that in your tea maker and boil it. You can put it on the stove and boil it, or you can put it in the microwave and boil it. Options are yours, and they are open. Okay, so we have our boiling water, to which I'm going to add 9 of the green tea bags. Green tea is not as strong as black tea. If you're using black tea, you can get away with 8 regular tea bag sizes. So this is just going to brew for about 15 minutes while I look at my kombucha and see where it is and get ready for fermentation 2. So this process that we're doing with fresh tea and 2 cups of kombucha starter will be fermentation 1. And so I'll add, all you need is 2 cups of starter for 1 gallon of kombucha, your 8 tea bags, your 9 tea bags of tea, your water, your filtered water, and a cup of sugar. That's all you need for fermentation 1. But I want you to look at this closely. So this has been in the cabinet about 10 days. There is a little bit of a film on the bottom, and that is where some of the yeast settles. And at the top, you can see there's a little pellicle forming at the top. So when you take this off, I'll show you this. This is what it looks like. Kind of scary, but not too bad. So I'm going to take my wooden spoon. I'm going to take this pellicle off and show you what this pellicle looks like a little closer. This is yeast. Don't get too worried about that. The reason my pellicle is very thin is because I don't reuse the pellicle to make my F1 fermentation. I only use the tea itself. The reason I do that is because I like a very light kombucha. I like it mild. I don't like a vinegary taste. And whenever you ferment too long or you have a lot of great big pellicle, it makes it vinegary to me. And so it's all your preference, what you like. If you want to keep reusing your pellicle and make it stronger and stronger, you can do that. But I just choose to make mine light and airy and good that way. So that's the first step, is I take my pellicle off, and then I look at the tea, make sure there's no mold on that, and there wasn't. It looks really good. But the very, very important step that you have to do at this point is get to the bottom of that jar, and you'll see that swirling around. You want to incorporate that into your tea because that's where you're going to get your fizz. So you're going to stir it good. I want to see if you can see the fizz in this. Yeah. And that's what your fizz should look like. So it's already there. It's already fizzing a little bit. And that's what we want. So while my tea is brewing, I'm going to leave 2 cups in this gallon. And then I'm going to take the rest of it and make my fermentation too. So to do that, I have my bottles ready. They're clean. They're sterilized in the dishwasher. This is where you can have fun with it. You can have fun flavoring it the way you want to flavor it. So I have a couple of blueberries here. I have some ginger. And I have a lemon. These are cold out of the refrigerator, but by the time I fix everything, it's not going to be too cold. You don't want cold, super cold items in your bottles because you want your bacteria to be at room temperature. And temperature is important also for the brewing process because you want your room temperature depending on how cool you like your house. Ours is between 68 and 72 year round. So a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler at times. But the cooler your temperature is, the longer it's going to take to ferment. And the hotter your room is, the quicker it's going to ferment. So people who don't have air conditioning in the summer will find that their kombucha will brew very quickly in like 4 to 5 days. And what I have found when I have done it that way is that the yeast grows a lot quicker too, and it tastes yeasty. So that doesn't work for me. I keep mine in the air conditioned room where it's roughly between around 70 consistently. So that's important. Stirring is always important. Don't forget that step because you want that yeast off the bottom, and keeping your room temperature neutral. I've seen people put warmers on it. You don't need to do all that. You really don't. It will do this perfectly in a 72, 74 degree room between 7 and 10 days without any trouble. And you'll love that flavor. You'll love that light, airy flavor that you get. So here we go with this. I'm going to grab a knife. Cut this lemon. I have 5 bottles. So we're going to use 1 whole lemon for 5 bottles of kombucha. And that's Fermentation 2, which only takes about 2 days fermenting in a room temperature room. Doesn't take long at all. You have pressure sealed bottles. You can reuse your store-bought bottles if you want to. It's really, you don't have to have a fancy setup to do this. All you need is a gallon jar and some good bottles, clean, sterile bottles to make your kombucha. So that's the juice of 1 lemon. I'm going to put that in 3 of the jars. Actually, I'm not going to use it all because it'll be too strong. But just a little bit. Cover the bottom of your bottle, just a little bit. That's it for 3 of them. The other 3 are going to get 3 smashed blueberries. So I'm just mashing them lightly and putting them in the bottom of, you can use fresh, you can use thawed out blueberries. You can use 3 or 4, however many. You don't want a lot of fruit in your fermentation 2 process. So I'm going to use 4. I'm just going to flavor it. So I like the ginger flavor really well with lemon and with blueberry. The ginger gives it kind of a kick. I love the nutrient benefits of ginger. So just having that on hand makes your kombucha taste really good. And you don't need much. Like, it is pretty sharp. So what I do is just put a little slice of ginger in each bottle. Take that peel off of it. You don't want that peel in there. You don't know, even though I washed it and it's organic, you don't know where it comes from or what it's been exposed to. So just like this, a couple slivers, and you can totally eat that after you pour it out and you get it out of your bottle. Okay, so there's a slice of ginger in each bottle. As you can see, here's our bottle. Here's our blueberry. And then it's actually ready for your kombucha. Unless you want to make it just a tiny bit fizzier and a tiny bit sweeter. So as you know, when you put a cup of sugar into this kombucha and the tea, the bacteria consume all of the sugar. So you're not getting that load that you would if you were making a glass or a pitcher of lemonade. So I just do 1/4 of a teaspoon of sugar. You could use the sweetener in phase 2. You can use the sweetener of your choice. So if you wanted to use maple syrup, you could. If you wanted to use a little bit of honey, you could do that. It's just as easy for me to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of sugar. Like I said, the yeast on the bottom of that plus a little bit of sugar is going to make it nice and carbonated and fizzy the way I like my kombucha. And getting it at the peak between 7 and 10 days keeps it light and airy the way I like it. So if you've got one of these big jars, you can pour that into another jar, or you can get one of these handy jar pour things, I don't know what they're called, and put it on it. Now it's heavy, so be careful. I always spill it. Try to put this on as tight as I can. So F2 is your flavored fruit of your choice, a tiny bit of sugar, and then your kombucha has to be to the top. You want at least a 1-inch headspace. If you have too much headspace, so say my jar is down to here, that's way too much headspace, right? I mean, it's not going to form any carbonation that way. There's too much air. So if you leave that 1-inch headspace, then you're going to get the good carbonation that you want. Another thing that I learned. So we're just going to pour this in. So if you're at the bottom and you think, oh man, is that 2 cups or is it not 2 cups? You can always just make sure and check it. I always kind of doubt myself because I don't always get it above the rim, which I want to do because I do want to fill up my bottles correctly. So there's my 2 cup starter. And let's see what we've got left here. And one time I used all of it, not even thinking about it. So you might want to pour your 2 cups aside at the beginning. Ooh, overdid that. See, I had plenty. What was I thinking? Why was I worried? Okay. Gotta get rid of some of that. And I'm going to keep that in the bottom. Pour a little bit back in. Oh, shouldn't have done that. Don't do that. It's going to be you should never flavor your F1. So hopefully it hasn't gotten in there too much, and we'll see. So it's a process. And I wasn't thinking. So here we go. Our 2 cups back in our F1 jar. Our F2 jars are going to be sealed airtight for a couple of days. You can shake it at this point to mix all of that up, but you definitely don't want to shake it the day that you're going to open it. So after a couple of days in the cabinet, I'll put these in the fridge and get them nice and cold, and then they'll be ready to drink. And that blueberry will turn that a nice, pretty pink color. So that's it for F2. Simple, right? You make a gallon of tea. You put a little flavoring in the bottom of your bottles, and you're ready to go. I will definitely wipe these bottles off before I put them in my cabinet. So it's been close to 15 minutes since we started. And what I want to do now is go ahead and test my tea. And I can tell you right now that it's way too warm. If your tea is above 85 degrees, you can kill your bacteria. So that's really important for your third step, is to make sure that the temperature of your water is below 85 degrees. You can ruin your batch real quickly that way. So you can vary this. I can put 3/4 of a cup, but a cup always works. Always works best. And again, in F1, you just want sugar only. You never want anything more than just plain sugar. Because that's what your bacteria like. That's what it thrives on. So your pellicle is the byproduct of your bacteria eating the sugar. So that byproduct comes to the top and floats and forms this really cool layer. You can put that in your plants to feed them. You know, it's got a little bit of the bacteria on it. I mean, you can't grow a new kombucha tea. This is your tea. You want to use that, but this is symbiotic culture of mycobacterium and yeast is what the SCOBY stands for. And again, you can use that if you wanted to put it in your F1 and make it stronger. You can do that, but I've never had to do that. I don't like a strong vinegar taste. I like a real light berry taste, and I like the way the green tea makes it just perfect. So the warm water is going to dissolve the sugar. looks good. I'm going to go grab a couple of ice cubes to put in that and cool it down. Alright, I went ahead and got my thermometer. When you're first starting out, it doesn't hurt to just check the temperature. So I put 4 ice cubes in this, and it's still 95 degrees. So see, if I put my finger in there, it just feels warm. It doesn't feel too bad, but it would be. It would be for my bacteria. So what I'm going to do is add some of my filtered water to it and see if that cools it down some more. .84. We're right where we want to be. Okay. So now that my tea is cooled, I can add it to my 2 cups of fermentation 1. And just fill it up. Great thing about kombucha is it's nice, it's refreshing, it's healthy. Gives you so many good gut bacteria. Helps feed your gut bacteria. And the best thing about it is that it's transient, which just means that it's going to flow through and help your bacteria without setting up house and causing you an overgrowth of any type of bacteria. And from the articles I've read, it really does good. You know, people worry about yeast and yeast overgrowth. And from what I've read about the conditions of kombucha is that yeast that's in the kombucha is a very healthy yeast that overcomes the pathogenic yeast that tends to grow in our guts. So that's what it looks like. Very, very important step is to stir it good again. And I'm going to label it because I've been kind of slacking getting to it in time. So you can use a coffee filter, you can use a paper towel, but you're just going to put this on top of it. Where my rubber band went. But then you're going to put your rubber band around it, which is very important because you don't want fruit flies in your kombucha. And they will try to get in there. So that's it for kombucha making. You have your F1, very easy process. You have your F2, easy steps. You don't have to stir it. You leave it in place for 7 days. You don't touch it. This one in the cabinet for 2 days, and then it's ready for the refrigerator. And I can't think of anything else, but if I think of something that I forgot, I will put it in the comments below. I hope that helps with kombucha making, and I hope that helps you get started on cleaning your gut. I have a video of the benefits of kombucha in another video if you want to check that out. It goes through the process here as well. Thanks. Have a great day.